Thanks for attending this webinar. My name is Ruud Michiels, looking after the Integration Partner Program, together with also Fons, who is also a panelist. And we also have Johannes Sittig and Thomas Sittig. And together we built a very nice solution for you, which we're going to present in the next 45 minutes. And at the end, you will have also, there's also some time to ask questions. So today's webinar is about PRAESENSA, the public address system, and then specifically for large building complexes and also a PC call station solution. Today's webinar is, I will do the first part myself, and then Johannes will take over, and then we will also have a demonstration. The objective for this meeting is to get familiar how to interconnect different building complexes and PA systems with the Sittig PAXguide system and the GUI, the PAX call point, which is the PC call station. The topics is we will have a short introduction. Then we will, then Sittig will take over, Johannes Sittig will take over and will guide you through the product details of the PAXguide and the PAX call point. And there is a demonstration by Thomas Sittig. Yeah, what is the purpose of the Integration Partner Program, which we started 2 years ago? It's creating together with third-party suppliers like Sittig, but we have more integration partners to create state-of-the-art solutions, because we know that the Bosch system is just a part of the total system required by the end user. What will it offer? It enables for the system integrators to hook up on different systems together without having a headache. The reason behind that is because we have a full test. So before we will launch these solutions on the market, they have been tested thoroughly on the partner side, in this case Sittig, but also on the Bosch side. So you will have less headaches because the system has been tested. As a consultant, it is possible to specify interoperability because we offer a total solution. And for the end user, they can just have it specified, relax, and use the system as is. Then I would like to hand over to Johannes. We will take you through the PAXguide and the PAX call station. So I will stop sharing.
Ruud, thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Johannes Sittig. I'm from Sittig Technologies, and now you should also see my screen. I think this one with the presentation, hopefully.
Yes, we can see your presentation, Johannes, it runs.
Perfect. So I will give you first a small introduction about the solution, about our system or our company itself, the system capabilities, but then, I think it's always better to show something on how the system is really working. So we are going to close it up with a demonstration of live demo, and afterwards diving into a Q&A session. So let's start first here with what is our PAXguide system, or what enables this PAXguide system in combination with the PRAESENSA. So first of all, it allows you to control one large system from one single client. So it allows the end user to also combine PRAESENSA and Presidio systems under one management platform, and gives you, beside that, also a user-friendly graphical user interface, so to say that you have a holistic audio management platform on top. Furthermore, it allows you also to integrate the PRAESENSA and Presidio system also to other top-level systems like operation, control center, software, etc. So that just as a small introduction, some information a little bit about us. Company Sittig, we are family business in the second generation, have now 35 years on top. I'm here with Thomas Sittig. He's the technical lead. He took over the company 10 years ago. And now we are about 40 employees at our 4 locations. So main base is in Frankfurt, but we also have offices in Munich, Slovakia, and Chicago. And our customer base is throughout, spread around the world, as you see on the next slide after that. But what is the solutions that we are doing? So on the one hand side, in terms of audio, we are delivering automatic announcement systems, especially for the airport and railway networks. And especially for the industrial parts, we deliver audio management platforms, such as the PAXguide system we are presenting today, which enables you to interconnect different PA systems. Beside that, we also have special alarm software, emergency intercom systems, as well as IT services in our portfolio. Taking a brief look on our customer base, as you see, I mean, Germany is our home market. This is where we grew in the last years. Every major German airport is using our audio management platform to make their announcements, to automate their announcements, and also to manage different PA systems. We have also done a lot of projects, especially in the aviation business in the Middle East. And beside that, also in Australia, a huge railway project. But especially the interconnection of PA system in our PAXguide system. We have rolled out last year, which was a huge project together with Bosch, was Roche in Basel and Kaiser August, where we have interconnected about 60% PRAESENSA systems. Might be the biggest interconnected solution out there. Beside that, also the Munich airport, the new terminal, or Terminal 2, the new PA system is also a PRAESENSA system, which we have interconnected there, as well as the Helsinki airport, the new terminal over there as well. So this is where we are coming from. We are always stepping in, so to say, if kind of the standard solution is reaching their limits just due to high complexity of the project or the size of the project or the infrastructure. So this is where we are feeling comfortable and where we are very gladly to collaborate here with Bosch together. Let's take a look into the PAXguide system and how it's structured. I'll start with a small technical overview that shows you a little bit how it's looking from a technical perspective. If we are starting here on the bottom line, we can see several subsystems or independent systems. On the one hand side, it's PRAESENSA systems. It can also be procedural systems. Over here, we are interfacing to those systems using the digital interface and our PAX controller, which is so to say, our gateway to the PA system. It's in the end an industrial PC, nothing more, but it's just our gateway that we can interconnect with the PRAESENSA and the procedural system. And our software itself, where everything runs and everything will be combined, runs on servers. Those servers can be redundant, they can be hosted on site in physical machines, they can be hosted on virtual machines of the customer. They also can be hosted in our own cloud. So there are different solutions on how the system setup is itself. The user in the end can use the PAXguide or use the audio management platform with our applications or web applications that we have designed especially for this use case. Also, you will see it later in the demo, especially like the PAX call point is comparable to the PC call station that you might know of the procedural system. And PAX admin is the administration application in the backend where you can do a lot of changes in the system, including also change of the zoning, etc. Beside that, we also have some IP paging stations. They can be used, especially if you want to make system-wide calls, because they can route into every subsystem that is below here in every zone and every loudspeaker. So we are having here on the upper level the web applications. As I mentioned, they're web-based, so you don't have to install them locally. So you can use them from tablets, from desktop PCs, wherever the customer wants to use it, and do announcements in every subsystem below. For the user, he doesn't have to take care whether it's a PRAESENSA system, a Presidio system, or PerVero or something else. For him, it's just a GUI and the zones, and he doesn't see any difference. To make this possible, and also there, since every network structure is different, we have several interconnection options, and they're just depending on the network topology and the network options that are available. So we have different audio protocols that can also be mixed under each other, what is possible. So, for example, as we see here, we can also speak directly from the PAXguide system via the zip interface to the PRAESENSA as one way. Beside that, we can, as we mentioned here, the PAX controller, our industrial PC, using IP streaming and Dante, and then transferring Dante audio to Bosch PRAESENSA system. This can also be done directly depending on the network possibility or network options available. Furthermore, we can also, especially to the Presidio system, using a sound card in our PAX controller, use analog audio to control it, or in the end also can use two-channel streaming encoder and analog audio there. So far for the technical part. I will move now a little bit more into the applications, what the user in the end will use. So as we mentioned, the PAX call point is more or less kind of the PC call station from Presidio, but it has a huge advantage. It allows you to manage several PRAESENSA and Presidio systems, or also PerVero systems on top. It's modern web-based, and it gives you the possibility to do also manual announcements, to record announcements, to upload any WAV files you have into your system, but also has the possibility to use text-to-speech there. We are using as a zone selection a graphical building plan that's pretty easy to operate for the operators. Alternatively, you can also use buttons, for example. Sometimes it makes also sense here in terms of usability for the customer, especially if you have very complex building architectures where it's pretty difficult to handle a map. And this is especially used for large building complexes, industrial facilities, railway networks or railway stations. And this is where we have also rolled it out in the last years a lot. The system features, just summed up here all on one slide. You're able to do manual announcements using the call point. You can also do time control, so scheduled announcements. And also there is no limitation in how many scheduled announcements and how you want to schedule the announcements, etc. Since it's from our end just database driven or database based, it's kind of unlimited, the possibilities there. Layout of different announcements, so uploaded WAV files, pre-recorded messages. The user's able to see an announcement history. He can also pre-listen the announcement at his workstation, so at his PC loudspeakers, for example, or if he's having a paging station from us right next to him, he can listen it on that. The zone selection already mentioned. He also sees all the running calls throughout the whole system at this time. Especially can also see system faults, not only from our system, So if there's a network error, but also from a Presidio or PRAESENSA system, for example. So that can also be displayed on the system. Then we have some additional features that are can also be embedded into the solution. So text-to-speech, for example, or also here if you have a pretty huge infrastructure and want to use different maps and multi-layer, we have also a multi-layer map feature available, as well as automatic announcement functionalities interconnecting with different databases, for example, and a SIP interface. Coming to the other application, it's the PAXadmin. This is, as I mentioned earlier, the administration application for our whole PAXguide system, so to say. So also here, it's a web application that offers you the possibility to change the settings wherever the customer wants to do it. There's a wide range of configuration options. Also there, we're going to take a brief look into the features. We have a very extensive role and user management. So kind of everything that you see in the application can be allowed or disallowed for specific users. So every feature, every click you can do the workstation management, backup, restore functionalities, but also the whole announcement management. So uploading of WAV files, recording and storing of manual announcements, creating announcements based on text-to-speech. You will do it later in an example. It's pretty easy for the user, but also a big feature here is the zone area PAID adaptation. So you can change the zoning where you want to make the calls in our PAXadmin. So you don't have to make the change in the PRAESENSA system or the Presidio system. You can just do it in our software. And if you are breaking something in the software in the end, you can just play in a backup. So it's a huge safety advantage, and also, pretty often gives you a lot of flexibility there. Also call priority management as well there, as well as extensive reports in the end. Before I'm going into the demo, I would like to give you an overview about how the system can be sourced, how the collaboration process is. Ruud mentioned it in the beginning, we are IPP partner here, so there's a special way on how the collaboration is going. So first of all, there's kind of 3 phases we have put it in. If there's a project initiation phase, so either Bosch or the integrator detects a potential opportunity where PAXguide system wouldn't make sense. So for example, if you're having a larger PRAESENSA system, or if the customer wants to change Presidio to PRAESENSA, but not all at once, so maybe just over the next couple of years, system after system, this would be a perfect fit, so to say, for where we can perfectly collaborate with Bosch and our solution. So in this regards, you're either getting the information from Bosch that you can directly contact us, or you can directly contact us in the end from the beginning. You have also our contact details here in the presentation. I think Ruud will send it afterwards as well. And we will get in discussions with you about the system setup and create an offer and documentation and the concept for you. This will be sourced in the end directly from Sittig. So Bosch is not the middleman in the end, just the transmitter of saying, okay, you can, we would propose to go with Sittig, or you go directly with us, because as Ruud mentioned in the beginning, we are helping there to spread the PRAESENSA systems over there. So if you have got in contact with us, we have provided you an offer, and the project is going on. We will set up the PAXguide system. We will also do go-live support and training and instructions of you as an integrator, but also to the end customer, always depending a little bit on the project setup. So we are supporting the project also in the deployment phase. After the project We have different support options that we are providing. And also if we are having new updates, etc., we are informing you as the integrator, and they will also be sourced as well as the support directly from our side. Coming to the license scheme, just here as a summary put together of what the system exists of. So first of all, as we have seen in the technical overview, we are using a PAX controller, or you can also use some other industrial PC. We prefer to use the PAX controller because then the rollout is easier from our end. There we would need one per subsystem, so to say. So this is the only hardware piece that is required. IP paging stations are just optional in the end. Beside that, we have several software licenses, and those software licenses depends on the size of the system, so to say. So the size of the subsystem. As you can see here, we have 3 different client licenses for every subsystem. So below 20 zones per subsystem, below 50 zones, and above 50 zones. These are also available as redundant options. Same with the PAX controller. We can also do a redundant connection to the PRAESENSA system or Presidio system. And the payment for this, as well as for the hardware, is a one-time cost. So you're getting a lifetime license for the software. Furthermore, we are having here the service. So the service packages that include is the server configuration and the client configuration. So part of it is always also the go live support, etc. Also, this is a one-time cost part. And last but not least, for the software updates and supports, we are having 2 different options. So it's either 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or 24/7 support. And this, so to say, will also be sourced by us. And this payment is done on a yearly basis. So all other things, especially the software license, etc., is on a one-time cost base, and support and updates is on a yearly basis. To give you an example on how what the pricing is, or just as an example pricing, here we have made you some examples. Important to note that these are examples, and every project is different. Every project setup is different. So you're getting always a specific quote for every request, so to say. Let's start here with the smallest solution, so to say, that we are setting up. So the server license, client license for one PRAESENSA system, for example, below 20 zones, doing the configuration, server setup, the client setup. It's about one-time cost of bit below 10,000 euro, plus yearly cost of about 1,500. A medium-sized system, where we're saying, for example, that we have 2 huge subsystems or PRAESENSA subsystems below that are also redundant. There we are talking also about 4 PAX controller, for example. Also here, server client configuration and the setup and the support. It's about 30K plus 5,000 euro as a yearly cost. And coming here now to a very large system, if we are having 7 subsystems, including redundancy, that are very huge, and 14 PAX controller, 24/7 support, etc., roughly about 100,000 and 12,000 euro. This is just, as I mentioned in the beginning, very important to mark. It's just examples. Every project is different, and therefore feel free just to send us information about the project, how you're planning to set it up, and we are doing individual pricing for every project there. All right, so then I would move on to the demo. Or Thomas, are there any questions so far? I can't see The question part so far. Otherwise, we are going to answer them in the end.
No questions currently, so we can just move on.
Perfect. So then I will go directly here into a live system. So as mentioned, it's a web application, so I'm just using it in my Chrome browser. We are supporting all new browser versions and different browsers that can be used. Coming into the call point, as we see here, we have the map of an industrial facility, several different buildings. The user sees the map, can select the different zones or buildings here to make announcements or to make calls. Beside that, if I open up here the legend, as I mentioned earlier, he sees also if there are calls running at the moment, for example, or if there is a system error or a network error, which is normally then more on our side, and also now announcement while an error, for example. This can also be configured, what kind of errors the customer can or shall see, for example. And we are having this here. You can also expand the map, for example, sometimes also helpful that you don't see the lower part. You can also use it on a tablet, for example, as well. We have here on the left-hand side some group buttons. These can be configured easily by you or the customer in the PAXadmin. So, for example, all the buildings on the east side of the industrial plant, or on the western side, or just all there. So this can also be easily configured by the customer itself. On the lower part, we can see here different tabs. So we see here the current announcement. So currently there's no announcement running. You can see it here. Then we have, you can also stop them then here. We have the announcement schedule, so you can see all the scheduled announcements with the information that are required. So for example, what kind of announcement it is, when will it be played out the next time, what is the usual part when it's going to be played out. We see here it, for example, when was it created, by whom was it created, and you have the ability to edit it or delete it, for example. Furthermore, you also have the possibility here to see the history, what announcement have been played out. So if the operator now wants to do an announcement, we are working here with templates. So the operator can select a template. So for example, I'm taking this non-smoking announcement. And then you see here, we have here the priority. This can also be set up by the customer itself for every announcement individually. So we are working not with the PRAESENSA or Presidio priority levels. We are kind of building our own priority set, which normalizes it through our different PA systems on the lower level. So the customer here can just define high, low, medium, whatever. And this is now set for high. We see there is no repetition set up. And then here we are working with announcement blocks. These announcement blocks make it very easy and flexible for you to add new announcements, to build different use cases. In this case, we are starting here with the chime and then 2 WAV files that were uploaded upfront saying about information about non-smoking, once in English and then in German. If the operator just wants to play out it in English, he can just delete it. He could also change what should be played first, for example. And this is what he could take as a part. And then he could just say, for example, okay, I'm going to play it out on all those zones. And then he can just click the start button and play out the announcement. As you see, the announcements are blinking. On the lower part here, you also see the announcement is running. You see the source where it's coming from. You see the status. Also, if there is a problem, for example, and you could also stop the announcement. If an announcement is played out from a different workstation, can also be a PRAESENSA paging station, can also be someone else using the GUI on a different workstation. You also see the calls running here, but they will also be set in a different color. They will be displayed in yellow, that the operator knows, okay, this is currently played out from a different workstation. To set up a scheduler, also stay here in the example. For example, the non-smoking is always a pretty good example for this. You can just click here on schedule, and then we have different options. Either he wants to play it out only as one-time announcement, so to say, on one specific timestamp, or we can set up here a recurring announcement. So this recurring announcement will start now for the next year. And then I can say, for example, okay, I can either do it time-based or interval-based. So starting off now here with an interval. So I'm saying, for example, this announcement should always be played out from 8 a.m. in the morning to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Should be played out every hour, but I only want to be played it out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So not on the weekends. This could be saved, or I could also combine it, for example. So maybe I will have a different execution time for the weekends. So I could say for Saturday and Sunday, I want to be played it out always from 1 p.m. to midnight, but kind of every 30 minutes. So you can also combine different schedulers in once, makes it easier for you in the end to have an overview about your schedulers, to make changes, etc. on that part. So this can easily be saved by the operator, and then you see here at the announcement schedule, what we have just set up is the non-smoking announcement. You see when it's always going to be played out, when is the next play out, when was the first, for example, or the last one. But you also have the possibility to edit it here with all the changes you have done. Beside that, for example, you could also say, I want that it always, this announcement will be played out on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays on 10:35, for example. So far on the call point part, I will show you now how easy it is to set up new announcements and also to make changes on the system in the configuration part. So if we are going into the PAXadmin, then we have here same part as well. So just needing my credentials. So the PAXadmin here is the administration application. You have a variety of examples on what you can set up in the system. I will just show a few, otherwise it would expand the time. So starting here off with the user management, for example, it's pretty extensive. We are working here with users and roles, and you can give users kind of, as I mentioned, everything that you see in the application can be allowed or disallowed. So, for example, I could give the role all access or all access to all functionalities at a call point, or just only, for example, that this user is able to trigger a template. So he's not able to edit it. He can't do any evacuation stuff. He also can't use text-to-speech, for example. So this is all not possible for this role, for example. Beside that, I can also say that he has only availability to specific announcement categories. So makes also sometimes sense that evacuation, etc., can't be made available for this operator, so he won't get this, as well as for different targets. So he could only have available for a possibility to play out announcement at specific zones and areas. Coming here to the announcement part, showing it on a practical example. So we are making here now a new category, for example, calling it Bosch, making it available in the system. And then the operator, if he has the user rights, he would also see the changes directly. So we see here we have the new category. I mean, now there's nothing in because we don't have a generated an announcement yet. That's what we are going to do now. So we are going to the template part. There we also see all our other templates, for example, the non-smoking part. And then we can generate here a new template. On the right-hand side, we can upload or generate new announcement blocks. So we are making now, for example, this block generating. So either we could upload something as a WAV file, for example. We could also use a paging station. We can't see this option here right now because I don't have a paging station right next to me. Or we can generate it using text-to-speech. This is what we are going to do now. Text-to-speech here, we are using different external text-to-speech providers that are implemented in the software. So for example, we have Microsoft Azure or Amazon Poly as online solutions, but we also have offline solutions that will be locally installed on the server, especially for evacuation purposes, for example. So here we can choose, for example, which language should it be, what voice should it be. So taking it English here, this is a test. And then maybe I also want to save it in German, saying dies ist ein Test, or das ist ein Test. I'm going to create the template and now the block, and now I can just build easily my template. So putting it into the Bosch category, I'm saying this should always be played out in high priority. And then I'm saying, okay, first we are going to have a chime or a gong, and then should be played after that the Bosch test that we have just created. I can choose in what language I want to have it. I'm saying I want to have it in English, plus also in German. And then I'm going to create the template. The operator, it's pretty easy for him now, just with a refresh. He can see or select the template. So going to the Bosch test, what we just created, started, and then you can see all the pre-configurations. Plus the operator can see already what is the content of it. You can also normally rehear it or pre-listen to it. Not available here in my demo system since it's in the cloud, not connected to my workstation. But normally you could also re-listen to it. And now he can just use a template, choose a zone, or maybe just 2 buildings where he wants to play it out, and then just start the announcement. So this is very easy for the operators in the end to make this whole announcement topic, generating new announcement, uploading new files. He has always a possibility. So here for example, we see all the announcement blocks that are available in the system, can be easily updated, new ones changed, etc. One more thing I want to show you is the part on how we are doing the because I just have seen the message text-to-speech is not working with live messages using the paging station at the moment. So we we have the feature in plan that we do. We are working on it at the moment, speech to text and then text to speech, but there would always be a delay, so it would not be in the same second. But currently, it's not available yet. Coming in here to the area zones PA IDs. This is what we call so far. So PA IDs is for us the lowest part we are getting from the PRAESENSA or Presidio. So it can be one speaker line, can be several speaker lines, etc. It's pretty easy. So in the beginning, if we set up the system, we do the configuration, load the configuration from the PRAESENSA or Presidio system. In our system, can also do here some changes on the bass level, background music, etc. And now we have this here in the PA IDs, and then we have the zones. Zones is in the end a group of PA IDs. So if I'm taking a look here, or if I'm creating now a new zone, I can just choose the PA IDs I have here below. So I could choose here, for example, every loudspeaker to build my zone. Same happening here with the areas, which is one level atop. Areas is just a group of zones, so to say. And this configuration can easily be changed by the administrator, by the customer, by the integrator, without doing any changes at the PRAESENSA or Presidio system on the lower end. So yeah, you can change the zoning here pretty easy. Also in terms of the map, you can also then make the changes here. So we see here now, for example, or this maybe a that we have here this building 06 is this specific PA ID, but I could also change it and use a different. So if I'm going here on the lower end, I see that this building is this specific PA ID, but I could also make some changes if you're having doing some changes there as well. Yeah, because I also saw it just a message in terms of pre-listen. You can use kind of every speaker line as well for pre-listen purposes. So, for example, if you're having in the operations room a loudspeaker, you could use this speaker line. What we are doing on demo purposes pretty often is that we have connected our phone via a zip interface to it. So if I'm making now a call here in this building, for example, then also you will see that my phone is ringing and calling me with the message I've just created. So it's very flexible. Great. I think, Thomas, did I forget? Or I mean, you have a lot of analysis tools in the administration part as well. So extensive history, statistics, etc. A lot of stuff in here. But as I mentioned, I think this would take too much time to take a look everywhere now. But Thomas, did I miss anything important? Forgot anything?
No, I don't think so. I think we go more for the questions, and also one important part is to explain that the system, the whole system, is all the time supervised, all kind of ports, all kind of streaming, and so on. So if you go to your presentation, just to the overview of the system, and how it could be interconnect, because this is important to understood that because a lot of times our system runs in the network environment from the customer, not in our environment, not in own network, running in the customer's environments on different routers, different subnets, and so on. So all the time we are controlling all kind of communication ports. So means not only just the communication about from our server to the PRAESENSA or Presidio, also we are routing all UDP or multicast or unicast ports which you are using for streaming or Dante. We are routing constantly from our server to the PAX controller and to the Bosch PRAESENSA and loop it back to us and checking if a pilot tone comes on. So we can be sure also if someone changed something in the firewall and so on, that you found out that, for example, the multicast streaming is not anymore possible in your network, or unicast is not possible because someone changed anything in the network. So it's whole supervised the complete day. As I see now, the call stacker, yeah, of course, our system is mainly doing all the kinds of stacking. We have different kind of call stacker methods. We can have calls, different kind of like you call macros. So you can have partial calls. You can have calls where, for example, 100% of the zones needs to be free, otherwise it will be stacked. It could be also that you say, okay, different call templates just need to have 80% of the zones available, and if this happens, then the call will play out. As it use a lot of for airports, especially. Yeah, there's all kind of call stacking methods possible. Cybersecurity, it's a big part in our software. As Johannes also mentioned, I mean, we are running on airports environment normally, so all this is more or less developed on the newest technologies based on ISO 20071, as well as it's also CRITIS proofed in some airports at the moment. So yeah, we do our best to make it as secure as possible. Yeah.
I will start with the questions on top that came in first. Also, if you have answered some of them, but that everyone has just heard the answers. Might be a little bit mixed now from the topics, but starting here now. So, do you support all versions of Presidio controllers? In general, yes, but it is important that yeah, the firmware itself is not too old. So otherwise, this needs to be checked. And individually, if all open interfaces options are available. So this has to be checked in the beginning. Also here the question, who is point of contact for design and pricing for this integration? This is Sittig, so you can directly contact us. So you also do not have to ask root for permission to contact us directly. He will be in loop from our end anyways. So you can directly contact us. We do the design and the pricing together with you. Our contact details are in the presentation, and Ruud will also share it, I think, afterwards. Next question was in terms of languages. So do you have also French presentation? Yeah, we have a French presentation. We can share it as well. Please, if you need the presentation in any other language, please just send us an email. What language is required? I mean, we do not have every language out of stock, but we can prepare it. That's no problem. So just shoot us an email. Then the question about the certification. So does EN 54 apply beyond subsystems? Maybe Thomas, something. There's also,
yeah, like I wrote. I mean, EN 54 is a certification of a system, is a system certification. So you can just fulfill this certification if you put everything together in a certification hall, and this is not always not possible to get a whole certification if you have a third-party software like us. But on total, the PRAESENSA or Presidio itself, they are of course certified, as well as a top-level management platform is more or less supervised like it is in like in standard EN54 system, but you cannot fulfill the certification as there's no possibility to do this.
Yeah, hope this answers. Feel free also to ask more questions in the chat. We'll come to that. We have here now a question regarding the system faults. So does the system report faults of PRAESENSA and Presidio, for example, such as M failures, speaker line failures, and so on? Yes, the system supports this. We can all receive this information via our interface to the PRAESENSA or Presidio system. And those failures can also be displayed on the GUI, for example. If required. Also, they're in different colors, depending always what the customer wants operator to see, does he just want to showcase him, okay, it's just a failure, or does he want to showcase him, okay, it's this specific failure.
Also in the PAXadmin, you see in the history all failures from all systems, like a complete log from a logging viewer, but also not just for Presidio or PRAESENSA, so for all connected systems, we are collecting them there in our database. But as we are using the same interface like the logging viewer, we have more or less all information with us. Yeah, same information like the logging viewer.
Yeah.
As
So
well as you can also see here in the call point, as we are also checking the local calls which are running, for example, on local paging panels. These are also mapped to our system. So also in our announcement history and so on, you have also all calls which running on the local level, which we also stored in our management platform on the top as one big log, where you can see all calls which are going in the system. It doesn't matter if it runs on a local PRAESENSA or local Presidio, they are all mapped to the top level and then stored in a big database there.
Yeah. Then we had the question whether did you mention the PC call station or the PAX call point could call to Presidio and PRAESENSA into one GUI? Yes, exactly. So what you see here, the map, this could be now a lot of different PRAESENSA and Presidio systems below. So for example, this building here could be a PRAESENSA system. This building here could be a Presidio system. So kind of what we have done in Basel for Roche, for example. They have pretty small PRAESENSA systems or pretty small PRAESENSA subsystems, I think 60 in total, for just 1 or 2 buildings there. And we have just interconnected them and the user can just use it.
And also other there could be also mixer up. For example, there could be also some older system which are just connecting via analog audio and contacts and parallel to a Presidio and PRAESENSA system, as well as, for example, the building number 1 could be a SIP integration or something like this. Yeah.
So what we also do pretty often is if the customer is building up a new PRAESENSA system and has an old Presidio system, so they're just building the new rack with the PRAESENSA beside the Presidio. We are interconnecting to the old Presidio system as well. So for example, here in the building 13 could be a Presidio system and they're changing it now to the PRAESENSA, like with all the other buildings, but over a time frame of maybe 10 years or so. So we are connecting to the old system. They are building the new system beside it, and we are just plugging into the new system once it's set up, and that makes it very smooth to make the change of the whole system. And as Thomas mentioned, this could also be some other PA system, whatever. Sometimes they have some old system somewhere else they do not want to replace or anything else. This gives you also the possibility to add those systems into this application here as well.
There comes one question from Fazil about the Presidio old and latest. Like Johannes said before, the problem is not the controller itself. The problem is sometimes if the firmware is too old. It's because the open interface which you are using in the to connect to the Presidio or PRAESENSA system also have some changes in the past, and especially very old Presidio firmwares, they have some issues in the open interface. So in general, if this is very necessary, where you cannot update the firmware, we can also check, but then we need to know exactly what kind of firmware do you have running there, and we need to check if there is any kind of problems, and maybe there could be also some special software for it, where we exclude or include some options which are not possible for your controller. But therefore, you cannot say you can run with all kind of controllers and all kind of firmwares. It's more or less we need to check then individually if this will map or this will produce some errors.
Yes. I think we have answered now also all the questions so far. Are there any more questions? Anything that we haven't answered yet? Also, I think, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions or anything is unclear or you need any documentation, presentation, or have any project in mind where it could be suitable, just shoot us a mail, give us a call, and we can discuss it. Also, if you're not clear whether it could work. So we have some more questions. Do you find any significant
about
latency from the call, from the call station?
So, for example, we have now run this in Munich Airport Terminal 1, where we have 5 PRAESENSA subsystem connect to our system, and on top our IP paging station. We have a total latency from speaking to hearing over the whole network, from the IP paging panel to our server, from our server to the controller, and from the controller to PRAESENSA and play it out from 15 milliseconds. So it's more or less nothing. So it's like real time.
Then the question, how do you receive the audio in the NCO with the AIP?
Yeah, in the NCO you can go via analog audio, of course. From the PAX controller, you can we can have a plug in a sound card and then put it to analog inputs, as well as from the AIP. If you have an AIP connected, and maybe, but mainly we are using our streaming technologies. But you can have also, I think the NCO has also the possibility for Omnio interface. If you have a Dante interface, then this would be also possible. In the past, we have done also CopraNet integration, but as there is at the moment CopraNet end of life, it's hard to get CopraNet cards that we are able to speak CopraNet directly. Yeah. But mainly for NCO, we are using analog audio. Yeah, directly, yeah, like Fons wrote.
Okay, then looking at the questions which we have, thanks for answering the questions already, Thomas and Johannes. Very useful. I would like to thank you for the good presentation and the demonstration you just had. And I hope that the attendees will have seen that this will bring some real nice benefits for the total system which we have available. Later on, we will distribute the presentation and also the movie, so the recording, which we just have. And then I would like to wish you a very nice day and hopefully a lot of prospects which will come around, which we're able to fulfill. Thanks for joining.